Welcome to the downtown area of our LEGO City. In this video, I'm going to be showing you what I've done with all of the different modulars. We have been very busy. I know they all just look like the basic modulars that you would see in a LEGO City, but we finally converted over to the mill system, which you can see down along the bottom there. Those actually elevate the city up so that we can do a lot of cool stuff with it later on, including different elevation changes, landscaping. It's going to be really exciting. But before we dive in too much, let me show you what all is included in our LEGO City, all of the different modulars and sets so far in this downtown area. As for the current modulars on this side of the city block, we have the diner, assembly square, and the brick bank as our corner piece. We need quite a few more corner modulars, and luckily we do have quite a few in storage that we just need to clean up since we did buy them used. But for now, in terms of corner modulars, it's really just the corner garage and the brick bank. And then coming along the other side of the city block, we have the end of the corner garage, the police station modular, and the bookshop. And I love the placement of the bookshop, especially having that color next to the police station. And then over here on the second city block, we start with the pet store. We're of course gonna put a corner modular here, but for now I thought that looked kind of nice right against those road plates. And something really cool about this modular is that the two halves of the building are separate, so you can actually move them wherever you need to. Some modulars are actually a base plate and a half, and so having some of these halves scattered throughout the city is kind of a good thing. I know some people probably want to keep these next to each other, which is what I've done here so far. But anyways, moving on now past the pet store to our first LEGO City MOC, Avengers Tower. Now obviously the top part of this is the official LEGO set, but the base there is actually a MOC. I am very happy with it. I love the landscaping that was done there. I'll give you all an up-close view of that a little bit later on. And then the Daily Bugle. This is such an amazing set, and it's basically a modular. It is just absolutely beautiful. It's so tall, and I placed it where it is because it is just so massive, and those red Daily Bugle letters at the top really need to stick out. So it's basically front and center, and because it's so tall, I didn't want it blocking anything behind it. So that's why it's in the second city block. And you also might have noticed that the Daily Bugle is right across from the police station modular, and yes, that was on purpose. I just feel like those go hand in hand. Having those right across from each other just made a lot of sense. And then finally, the last modular set in our LEGO City is the Parisian restaurant. We still actually have 4 that we need to add to the city, most of them being corner modulars, which will come in very handy, but we're gonna work really hard to try to clean those up soon so that we can actually add them into our LEGO City. So by this point, you've probably noticed that we have 2 different types of LEGO roads in our city. We have these road base plates, as well as the fancy road plates in between the 2 city blocks. This is because we just haven't gotten around to making more of these road plates yet. But the plan for the road plates going forward, once we make a bunch more of them, is that they're going to circle around both of these 2 different city blocks and make kind of like a city grid, which is something we've always wanted to have in our LEGO City. It just makes it into an actual LEGO City rather than just, seeing modulars placed on a table. So these road base plates here are very temporary. These will not be staying here in the long term. I just think it gives a really good idea of what's to come, especially with the curves going around the edges, to really make it into a real LEGO City. Now, one of the biggest things we did update this week was adding these really cool road plates here, and I am so happy with how they turned out. Plus, we added quite a few details of our own to make them really unique, which is kind of what I've started to do here with this little ramp going down. I just think that makes it a lot more accessible, plus it's just a little bit different. It adds something else to the road that you would actually see in a real city. Another thing in the city that I'm actually very proud of is this little area here for cars to park. And that's something so normal that you see in any downtown or any large enough downtown with street parking. It's just spaces for cars to be able to park to the side with enough room for cars to still drive by beside them. And I hadn't really seen too many people doing this in their LEGO cities before, which is why I wanted to give it a try. Again, I really want my city to be just really unique, really fun, but also very realistic. And something kind of cool about the roads is that they actually slide out and are not connected to the modulars at all, which makes it really easy to keep working on the city, because especially at the beginning stages, you're always moving things around and you want it to just be easy as possible to change your mind halfway through. But something else kind of different that I didn't really expect to have in our city was this type of road. And I just love the small white line along the side. It's not too thick, and it's also just right along the edge, still with a little bit of this dark gray along the side. And to make that happen, we actually just made these individual things to slide along the edges of the road plates. And it's really just a bunch of these dark bluish gray bricks with a white plate in the middle middle, topped with these dark bluish gray tiles, and you just slide it in, which I didn't expect to be a thing that we would have in our LEGO City. I didn't think that was normal, but it just really creates the effect that we wanted. But then actually let me slide this out so we can take a look at Avengers Tower. Obviously, this is not the normal Avengers Tower set. There's been some modifications, and I am really pleased with how this is looking. I always wanted to add this to my LEGO City and make it mill, so that's kind of what I started with in the front there, and I really like my technique for the trees. I took one of these pieces here and basically just covered it with these green leaves, and I kind of like it. It makes for a really nice, just very vertical bush. That's what I did along the front there, and I am really happy with it. However, I think going forward, I do want to bring that building forward just a bit. It just kind of gets hidden, even though we did really do this to make it taller. It's still hidden behind everything, just kind of pushed to the back. So we want to make it at least aligned with most of where the other modulars are located. And really the main modification, as you guys have probably been able to tell so far, is this bottom base to it. And we added a bunch of these window pieces, as well as just some like tan bricks along the sides. Because if you look at the Avengers Tower from the movies, there is a really nice building at the bottom of the Avengers Tower that we all know and recognize. But anyways, we also tilted it to the side so you can see the A a bit better, so it's not just hidden right up against the Daily Bugle. I just think it looks really cool like that, and it just really shows off exactly what building it is, because it is so iconic. Anyways, I've saved the back of the second city block for last, just because it's so unfinished and there's not really too much to say about it, but I'll at least give you guys some future plans. So this here is the original Daily Bugle, and obviously it's not as good as the one that literally towers behind it, but it's still a really cool set, very classic, and it's kind of just a placeholder in our city for now. I'll probably end up moving it at some point, but till we get more modulars in here, it's probably just gonna stay where it is. And then over here we have the Sanctum Sanctorum, and this is such a cool set. Honestly, I really hope that they make this into a modular very similar to the Daily Bugle at some point, because the Daily Bugle is just such a beautiful set. I would love to see the Marvel team making more sets like that. And something kind of cool I've been considering doing is just buying a second Sanctum, because it would be kind of cool to have two next to each other. But anyways, now moving on to the Spring Lantern Festival, and this is an amazing set. It's absolutely beautiful, but it's kind of hidden in the back for now because we haven't converted it over to the mill system yet. And it's just because it looks like it'll be a ton of work. Like, all of these pieces need to be taken off of the base plate and then moved over to a plate. So that's gonna take probably like 2, maybe 3 hours to do, and I just don't want to. I've been procrastinating it, so it's just kind of hiding in the back for now. But now finally, something else really cool I do want to show you that we've been working on is this little dog park here, and I'm really proud of it for being our first actual like landscaping attempt. I think it came out really nice, and also it's a really great way for us to just include a lot of the dogs that we have. But anyways, as you can see, it kind of slopes down here in the middle, but along all of the edges, it does remain that just very standard mills height, so that it is able to lay flush with all of the modulars once we do add it back into the LEGO City and have an actual city block. But I just thought this was really cute, and we'll probably add to it once we get some more pieces. We only had so many green plates, so we do want to add a lot more to it, but this is kind of where it's at for now. And so for future plans going forward, we definitely need to start working on more of these road plates. They just take so much time to do, about an hour each minimum, and that's if you can find all the pieces you need. So it'll take a long time to keep working on that, but long term we will have the roads just circling each of these city blocks, and it's gonna look really nice. I'm so excited to see what that'll look like in the end. And then also we really need to start adding some more of our modulars to the LEGO City, because we have quite a few that are just very dusty. We bought them secondhand, so I think that'll just really help make these into actual city blocks going forward. But overall, I am just so happy with where our LEGO City's at so far. It's so much fun working on it, especially with my husband. It's something so fun we get to do together, and I just love that. Anyways, if you guys have any ideas or feedback for me, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel down below. Thanks all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.